Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. Today I want to discuss something interesting. It's extremely sad, It's criminal, to do such a thing to a child. The story of what happened here is very interesting. And what is that? So, AshleyClaire, one of Elon Musk's previous wives or mates, I don't know exactly. I know there's certain ones that he married, certain ones that he just had, he was just with. So, I believe it was one of his wives, from my understanding. So, when they were married, and I guess also before, when they were dating, she was, very against this whole idea of LGBTQ and transing kids, and she even wrote a book against it. And now she completely went opposite all of that, and now not only is she for it, but she wants to transgender her little 1-year-old boy, which is Elon Musk's son. As you could imagine, even like regular types of Democrats, normal ones, which are, harder and harder to find, they don't want their child to be transgendered, even if they're saying, but when it comes down to their child, they don't want it. You understand? So, and here we're talking about a Republican who's, he's now a Republican. Used to be one of the normal Democrats, and now he just realized that that movement has been taken over by the, by the extremists of that group. And there's really it doesn't look like there's any hope over there, of anything going back to normalcy in any way. So he became Republican. But even as a Democrat, he already had one of his children transgendered, and he saw what happened. You understand? How do you trick a smart person like that into something like that? He doesn't realize what he's signing on. This, that. So all these things, but it's just shocking. And she already got, I remember, she got like $1 million or $2 million or a few million. I remember when in the divorce. Oh yeah, so they were married because she's getting money in the divorce. So she's getting I remember if it was $2 million, something like that, she got in the divorce, and then he gives her each month $100,000, I believe. But that's as long as she has custody. So until now, I guess, he was being nice. She is the mother. She gave birth to him. So he was like, if I get to see him, you get to this, that, trying to do things in a pleasant way. And now she's saying that she wants to transgender this 1-year-old boy. And now Elon Musk is, okay, I have to take custody now. I can't allow something like this to happen. Meaning, she's saying this is what she wants to do. You can't take a chance that maybe she will. Especially if she's saying it. It's not like she starts becoming Democrat. She starts hanging out with people like that hold of this, but she never said it yet. Even that would be already very questionable. But when she actually says this is what she wants to do, you can't say, well, maybe not. It takes a lot for someone to say something, that when people are not going to be happy with what you're saying, it takes a lot to say it, So if you actually said it, that means you mean it, So now Elon Musk is trying, is going to do his best, The courts today, who knows, but he's going to try his best to save his son. And what's interesting, what will happen, is that if he gets if he gets the, if he gets the right to of the child, then she will lose the alimony of $100,000 a month. So very interesting. Like why would you do that? Like you were paid so much money, you're getting so much money, you spoke against it, and then you turn the opposite way. And I want to discuss how this could happen to a person. Again, this is the story that's happening here. We see it in real life. But I want to take a step away and talk about how things like this happen, how someone could turn so drastically. Again, I'm not coming to say, each person, because all these details, so I'm not, coming to talk about, I'm not coming to talk about them, but I am coming to talk about this idea. I'm just bringing up this case in life that physically happened because it's easier for people to connect to something when not only do you give a parable, but it's a parable that happened, and especially that just happened. It's in the recent past, and it's literally just happened. So it helps people to take the lessons that need to be learned for each one of us. So the question people could ask is how could there be such a change? What could cause something like this? And the answer is, I'll put it in the links. You'll see the Benny show. I'll put it in the link. Where he talks about it, and he says, a scorned, like she's looking at it, like, he's not with me, so she feels she's scorned, and therefore, that anger, we see the danger of anger, how anger could make you do something so evil. Now, it's one thing if you are someone that was saying, no, you should transgender the child, was going for it, but even for someone that was saying it, for them then to do it to their child just shows a new level of evilness. But especially someone who actually wrote a book showing the falsehood of this ideology, and then she does it. This just shows the power of anger and how we have to be so concerned about our anger, because there's righteous anger and then there's ego anger, evil anger. And there's like Trump. He's so upset with what's happening. He fights to the death, and Baruch Hashem, thank God, he was actually saved from death. They tried to kill him multiple times. And he's fighting for the truth. Is he God? Does he never make a mistake? No, he's not God. But he's trying his very best, and he's succeeding, in probably 99% of the time. And this is, you see how righteous anger for righteousness to do good, you see how that goes. And then we see when someone imagines themselves, to be a scorned wife. I mean, how scorned do you have to be if you got millions in the divorce and then you get 100,000 every month? Obviously, you're not scorned. Obviously, he does care about you. He does care about the child. You're just upset that you're not still married to him, which I don't know what happened, but 80% of the times the women are the ones that make the divorce. So it could be she's even the one that caused the divorce, the finalization of the divorce to happen. So to a certain extent, it has to be subconsciously that her anger is not just at Elon Musk, but it's at herself. And because she wants to, she doesn't want to think about that anger that she has towards herself, of not being a better wife, being a better person, and therefore it not working out. Now she's pushing it. She's like doubling down, tenfold, tripling down. She's like taking the anger, because she doesn't want to feel any anger towards herself. She's hating Elon Musk, her previous husband 10 times fold. And we just see the power of anger. We just see the power of anger, of what it could do to a person. That not only could it completely turn you to the your whole ideology completely off. And we're not talking about that you're doing something wrong and now you turn to doing something right. That's not what we're talking about. You're doing something right and then you turn completely to doing something wrong. You go to the Satan side, to the evil side, and that's what we're seeing. But it's not just that that you just turn, but that your own child that she held, I don't know, was 7 or 9 months, one of those, that you gave birth to. There's pain involved for a woman giving birth. It's not easy carrying the child, giving birth. It's painful. Then there's the recovery, taking care of the child. There's so much that you put into it just in a year. Because there's 9 months before, and then there's the year of taking care of the child. How much you put in. It's her child, and then she's willing to literally cut off a body part of her child, give the child hormones to prevent, the manly hormones. There's manly hormones, there's women types of hormones to prevent the manly hormones from coming in. This is, which, with all this happening, also prevents her child from ever having an offspring. Because if he doesn't have that Ava, then that's it. It's gone, How are you supposed to have a child? You understand? So he can never have a child. It's so evil. You understand? This is, we see what evil anger could do. Anger that comes from haughtiness, anger that comes when a person's a balgaiva. We just see the power of that anger, what it could do. It could take a mother and turn her into the most cruel human being towards her child. And this is unfortunately what we're seeing, and it's just astounding, shocking. It's for a mother to a child. This is treason, to do such an act. So we all have to learn from this unfortunate thing that's happening. Hopefully Elon Musk succeeds and he gets custody of the child, because she can't be trusted after saying such a statement like that. You can't take such a risk when it comes to your child. And Elon Musk has a whole bunch of children, so we just see that he cares about each one, even though it's from a different mother. He cares about them. So this is kudos to Elon Musk. We just see what anger could do. And this is important for men and women. When you're looking for a spouse, you need to test. You have to look, does this person that I'm going out with, do they have an anger issue? Yeah, of course now they're nice, you're paying their bills, you didn't get married yet, but you have to look, how do they treat other people? Are they cool, calm, and collective, down to earth? Or do they have this anger inside of them? This haughtiness. Haughtiness is what brings to anger. They think that they're above other people. There are many people that they are above other people, but they don't focus on that. And therefore that's not who they are. They're not haughty people because they're not focusing on that. It all depends what you focus on. But if you see someone that is haughty, that, very stolzy, haughty, this means that the anger issue, when they don't get their way, that the anger issue that's going to be there is going to be tremendous. So this also teaches us big lessons when it comes to dating, how we have to be attentive. Is the person I'm going out with full of gaiva, full of stolz, full of arrogance? Because arrogance, gaiva, is what leads to anger, to kas. A person who's, let go, is easygoing, will speak to people, doesn't think that who are you to even talk to me? Who are you to even have anything to do with me? There's people like that, and sometimes it could be difficult to disconnect from such people, because the first time you meet them, they'll act so nice, and you're like, and especially if they're a handsome person, a handsome or pretty person, so you want to be connected, but then from then on, they're always playing games, and you always are wishing to get back to that first interaction. So it's a lot of people, they do this just naturally, meaning a lot of people are actually trying to trick you, and other people, they just do it naturally, and they didn't really have such a thought to trick you, but that's the way that they're acting, in a tricky way, whether they realize it or not. And you have to realize that for yourself. If you're in a position, you could point that out to them and see if they change. If they don't change, or you can't point it out for them, you need to disconnect. That shouldn't be the person. You have to, in your brain, you have to know, and in your heart, you have to know, this person is only going to cause you hurt. And you need to, this person can't be someone that's in your inner circle of friends. It's just not there. Even in right outside the circle also not, because they'll just keep on doing this and disrupt your ability to treat other people, the nice people that are actually nice, to treat them good, and to actually get good friends, because you're always trying to kiss up to them. So this is extremely important, and you have to know, unfortunately, I'm a person that just says it. There's a lot of, it's not just simple people, not just evil people that have this issue. It's not just simple people that could get into this type of rut, this type of mistake, whether they realize it or not, but it's also people that are holy people that also have this, and if they act this way, you have to know that that's not a tzaddik, that's not a rebbitzin, that's not a rebbe, a chacham, or sheshiva, whatever they call themselves. That's not someone that I want as part of my life. If they pass by, I could say good Shabbos to them, they could say good Shabbos to me, If you see you say good Shabbos to them and they just ignore you, so then, you could either just ignore them, or, people that are intelligent, extra intelligent, they might decide maybe to do some other way of, hello, oh, why, there's this other way of doing things, but many times the best thing is just to ignore them, and then when they try to show a little love and come back in, you just have to tell them that this is your issue. If you're going to act this way, then I'm just, I don't want you part of my life, and I don't want you part of my spouse's life, my kid's life, my family's life. You understand? And you give them up to 3 chances, and then that's it. You understand? They're the ones that need to drastically change, not you, that you have to become able to just take their abuse. It's not you that needs to change, it's them that needs to change. You understand? Even if on the first time you see that it's someone like that, you just do it. It's also who has time to sit and deal with all the crazy people. You understand? So that's also acceptable. Depending on the person, there's different ways. Each one, there are different mahalchim. You have to see according to your nature which one works better. There are some people that they want to keep saying hello, because each time they don't answer, they could sit and point that out and make fun of them. You understand? Everybody has their way of dealing with it. There's different natures and different, you understand? You have to see which one is you, which one is you. And, and that's that, In life, you have to understand, in life, if you're going to always try to be on talking terms with everybody, it's just not possible if you want to be healthy. There's going to have to be people that you're going to have to ignore, even if they come up to you. And if you don't, then you're using all your energy on them, and then you treat your wife bad, you treat your husband bad, you treat your kids bad, your students bad. You understand? Your friends bad. We don't have unlimited energy. We just don't. And just because you don't have unlimited energy doesn't mean therefore I could do things wrong because I don't have unlimited. No, you can't do things wrong. But when something is parav, it's not right, it's not wrong, there's different approaches, and you have limited energy, you could just say, you know what, I see someone that's like that, that's it. I don't say hello. If they say hello to me, I'll say hello back, I just ignore them. You understand? So, and if they want to get into conversation, say, just avoid it. Say, no, I do not want to get into conversation. I'll say hello, but, I really don't want to get into conversation. You're just very stolzy, and that's just not the type of person I want to be around. And that's it. You understand? Now, if you see a person actually makes a drastic change, he or she changes themselves, you understand? You see, they're acting differently, they change themselves, that's different, you understand? This is extremely important. How one has to learn the balance of being down to earth, of not just, I don't speak to, not treating people, regular good people, not treating them bad just because you think that you're higher, right? Even if you are higher, but it's when you say, it's when you focus on that it hurts you. Of course you should become a higher level person. Absolutely. Everybody should pale in comparison to you. Not because of your riches, which is also important. Become rich, it's very important. But we're talking about your character. You should have a high level character, but because you understand you have this very high level character, your understanding of how people try to trick you and how people take your energy and all that, all those things. And then you also are more keen to finding good people, to finding a good spouse, to saving your son from a bad friend or your daughter from a bad friend, from saving your friends from these bad people, from stealing from them, all these things. You understand? Your focus should be becoming more perfect, not pushing out the arrogance of how great you are. And in life, you become what you focus on. So if your focus is to become better and better, then as you grow, you love people more, you're more understanding, you're able to help people more. But if when you grow, your focus is stolz, is gaiva, is arrogance, then that consumes you. And you become the lowest person around, at the same time thinking that you're the highest. The more stolz, the more gaiva, the more arrogance you have, the greater you think you are. But everybody around knows really who you are. So therefore, never fear from growth. Growth is the most important thing. But focus on the growth. Focus on doing good. In life, that what makes you is what you think about, what you focus on. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.